Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to now move on to our next witness, Tsedale Lemma, the journalist, if she would please speak. And witnesses know that when it comes to the Q&A period, you will have further opportunity to speak. Ms. Tsedale?
Thank you, Chairwoman Baz, Ranking Member Smith, and honorable members of the House Subcommittee. I'm honored to be here to testify about the tragic political trajectory my beloved country, Ethiopia, is confronted with today. The timing for this hearing could not have come at the right moment, provided that the topic to be covered not only deals with the conflict itself, but its complex root cause and recommendations on how to address the crisis in order to help prevent the security situation further deteriorating in Ethiopia and the wider region in the Horn of Africa. The source of the last 30 days military conflict in Tigray is fundamentally political, and as such, inseparable from the cascade of other political crises that rocked Ethiopia for the last 2.5 years, and which have contributed to the astounding number of ethnic, religious, and political violence that continued threatening the country, weakening the state, and causing devastating sufferings to Ethiopians across the country. The conflict in Tigray, although alarming in the immeasurable amount of the suffering it has caused to civilians, especially Tigrayans, it should therefore be not viewed in separate and one-off event. In my view, the conflict is a cumulative result of 3 major political failures. The first one is the ill-timed and unceremonious collapse of the then ruling party, the EPRDF, over which TPLF had a monopoly. The second is the ill-managed opening up of the political space in Ethiopia, which lacked a comprehensive and inclusive political dialogue and political settlement aimed at charting out an agreed-upon transitional roadmap. And the third is the advent of COVID-19 pandemic, which induced the postponement of a much anticipated elections in Ethiopia, and how the government handled the postponement of the election. Instead of dealing with it with other political parties and reaching at a settlement, agreed upon settlement, the government has indefinitely postponed the election and caused an agitation of the political space, which has resulted in irreversible crisis that the country continued experiencing. So these political failures were further compounded by political assassinations, the last one of which, the assassination of Tsedale Hundessa, being the most consequential that has turned the political landscape from that which failed to find a negotiated settlement to that which saw the government as a jailer and its formidable opponents as the jailed. In light of this, I believe 3 things need to happen and need to happen fast. The first one is Ethiopia needs a UN-mandated team to investigate the war on Tigray, the assassinations of senior officials and artist Tsedale Hundessa, as well as the killings of countless civilians and the displacement of millions since Prime Minister Abiy came to office. He has blamed the TPLF for it, which would further create more altercation in the ongoing war. There are repeated recommendations, including one made by Yosef now, for independent and transparent investigations from all corners around the world. But I do believe only a UN-mandated team should be empowered and enabled to commence such task. As a result of a deeply polarized society, no other institution, from Ethiopia's Human Rights Commission to Amnesty International to Human Rights Watch, earns the trust of Ethiopia's polarized society to conduct such important task the same way as a UN-mandated and a politically insulated investigation team should. In her global human rights update delivered at the 45th session of the Human Rights Council on the 14th of September 2020, Michelle Bachelet, the UN Human Rights High Commissioner for Human Rights, said her office was ready to support a thorough, independent, impartial, and transparent investigation of the assassination of Hachalu Hundessa and subsequent violence that really altered the political landscape in Ethiopia. This offer has not been taken up yet, and I do believe it is time we take Ms. Bachelet's offer and acted on it. What is at stake in post-Tigray's conflict is not the same way what's at stake in post-Hachalu Hundessa's assassination in Ethiopia. Nor can the US afford losing Ethiopia, one of its staunch allies and a force of stability in the Horn and beyond, and wishes to get away with it like it did with Somalia. Ethiopia's political crisis, which is haunting the government of Prime Minister Abiy, needs to find its root causes. A UN-mandated investigation team is the only place to start looking for in order to hold to account those who have wreaked havoc for the last 2.5 years and continue to find a closure. Ethiopia must also commence an all-inclusive political dialogue as soon as possible. And that should be preceded by the release of all political prisoners.
Now, excuse